Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bad Movie Night. My name is Chris, and tonight I checked out a new movie, just came out a couple days ago, called Tar. It is directed by one Aaron Wolf, co-written by him, and stars him as well. It's a low-budget-ish movie. So Tar is about a family-owned business, and on the day where they have to get out of the building because the lease is up, a tar-like creature is set free from the Brea Tar Pits in Los Angeles. And it kind of all takes place with a few different characters who work at this office and a lot of family drama between the main character played by Aaron and his dad. So let's talk about some of the positives here. The production value is not bad. The creature, when you see it, looks kind of interesting. There's some few pieces of CGI that is passable. Tiffany Shepis has a role in this movie. You might recognize her. She's in like Victor Crowley and a lot of low-budget horror movies. I know her from a film festival in which she egged a drunken Richard Grieco on when he was ranting about how the studios took over his movie. That was pretty good. I digress though. Tar, I wish I could say I liked it, but I'm not a big fan here. There's a lot of weird choices being made in this movie. It's a weird mix of like indie mumblecore drama and a little bit of horror, and the horror moments never feel like a horror movie. They still feel completely weird and out of place. The reason I say like indie drama is because a lot of the movie is just like two characters or three characters milling about having these mundane conversations while like this indie hipster music plays. Like it's like one of the people involved in the movie's like cousin's band or something. And it's played throughout the movie, and it like really reminds you of why music is so important, because it does reinforce either a tone or moments. And when you put music in for like a horror movie, you're like going against, I think, what you're trying to accomplish. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did want to make like this indie drama thing, and it just feels like there is no understanding of what makes a horror movie work. So the movie starts at kind of like the end where you see Aaron's character monologuing to somebody. You're not sure who, but it seems, your initial thought is probably correct when it comes down to it. And we might be spoiling this, but it keeps cutting back to that. And those monologue moments, and a lot of the moments where it's two characters talking about like relationship stuff, it's so blunt and not subtle in any way that it just feels really cringy.
I never resented my dad, who worked his ass off, by the way, giving me all the advantages and privileges that I received.
I know.
I never, ever resented your mother.
Now you bring Mom into this?
And then I'm not sure what is supposed to be humorous and not. And maybe because humor is super subjective, this like didn't work for me and I just couldn't pick up on what was supposed to be funny or not. But I think some of this was intended to be humorous. And again, it just came off super cringy.
Wondering if you had any more of that premium quality bubble wrap? Thanks.
You have this character who like makes a deal with this other character about like, if I save you, will you make out with me? And it's like, it seems like mild banter, stupid joke. And then later when he saves her, he's aggressive about her making out with him while like there's dead bodies around and they just overcame the creature. It's super awkward and stupid. And I'm not quite sure if it was supposed to be humorous or not, but again, it came off cringy and awkward and just bad. The main character is extremely unlikable, which, if he's going for a character arc where he grows up, like Shaun of the Dead or something like that. Even Shaun in Shaun of the Dead has these problems that he clearly needs to work on. He needs to be, take on some more responsibility, be an adult in some ways. You still like him throughout the whole journey. And in this movie, I'm not quite sure what they were trying to say about what this character's arc needed to be, but they made him incredibly antagonistic to everyone, and to his dad especially, that it was extremely frustrating and annoying, and it made me not like him at all throughout the entire thing. So, if it wants to be a drama, I don't know why it handles its character moments so bluntly and so poorly. It doesn't feel authentic. Maybe other people talk to their families and loved ones in a way where it is like the most base level of emotion. But I think human beings are way more complex, and it's the little subtleties that you pick up on visually and stuff like that that sell those kind of moments better.
I know it's been a rough day for you and your dad.
Yeah, what day isn't?
Come on, Zach. You can't get away with those throwaway woe is me lines anymore.
And a lot of the character stuff is compounded on the fact that like this crew, this motley crew of people are all one note. You have your main character who's just super boring and bland. You have his dad. You have the goofy, like horny coworker friend. You have the real busty, hot woman who works with him. You have the quirky coworker who does astrology. You have a lesbian, and like the way I'm describing these people is like the surface level that you get from them is what they are.
Office. I'll make sure that it's packed tightly. You really are the best. You really mean that?
Let's talk about some of the horror elements. Like I said, the tar creature thing, I think is a pretty cool idea. One that I haven't really seen before. I initially thought maybe this would play out something similar to like that Splinter movie, which is actually a really pretty cool movie from what I remember. But no, it's more or less just a creature that I guess is supposed to be made of tar. Doesn't really have much of like the fluidity you would think of a tar creature. Like you would think like it's splurting out tar at people. It's more or less just like this creature that grabs people. And it's dark in this building, which is probably for the smart way of doing it to hide some of the creature's flaws. And I think it looks okay, but for whatever reason, and I'm trying to place it, I think it's because that duality in its tone of its like indie drama and then cutting to this horror stuff, the horror just doesn't ever land. It doesn't feel terrifying. There is very few moments of tension. The like biggest moment they want to have of tension is with the main character, but because they open the movie clearly after everything has happened, and you know it's after everything has happened because the main character's bloodied and he has tar on his face and stuff, you know he's gonna pull through. So it's not like he's gonna have a big sacrificing moment and maybe he dies or whatever for his arc. You know that's not gonna happen, so that tense moment is just like pointless. So maybe this just isn't for me, and maybe if the humor worked for you, this would be something that you would really like. But for me, it wasn't. The hipster music initially killed it, and it goes on for about 20 to 30 minutes of just really like mumblecore-esque drama. That's kind of how I felt, at least. And it's not till like maybe an hour or so till you get some kills, maybe a little earlier than that. There's like 1 or 2 decent kills in this movie, especially somebody getting their face ripped off, which was surprising and weird and kind of felt out of place. I think this just, the horror feels out of place in this whole thing. It's kind of a mess. It's called Tar. Yeah, the production value is not that bad. The lighting is all right. The sound's okay. The acting is so. I don't know if it's more the characters that I just didn't like. And maybe if the characters were written better, that the acting wouldn't have bugged me. It's not like the performances are that bad. It's just like performing these lines and stuff didn't work. So that's gonna do it for Tar. It's out now. If you've seen it, you have thoughts on it, let me know down below. And then let me know what I should be checking out. And until then, I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.